Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 40 of Gains, and this one is titled A Kiri Type Support. Kiri already knew which hospital you had been taken to, because you had told him the night before, so that next morning he had gotten up early and had been packing things to bring to you. He didn't know if you were awake or asleep, or even if he was allowed to come into the hospital to see you, but he was worried about you and wanted to see you, so he was a determined guy at that point. The girls had told everyone what had happened on your walk, and the teachers had been notified too, both by the hospital and by the students, so everyone else was calmly going about their morning. "What you doing?" Mina asked with bubbly enthusiasm as she bounced into the common lounge and over to Kiri, who was sitting in the lounge there with his backpack at his feet and phone in hand, just staring at its blank screen. "Oh, I'm waiting for Yin to let me know if I can come to the hospital. We spoke yesterday and I've got some things for her," he said, leaning forward to pat the bag at his feet. "But she hasn't been on all morning. I hope she's okay." "This is Yin we're talking about. She'll be fine. And plus, she's at a hospital. She's not in danger," Mina said with a small hidden smile. She could see Kiri was really itching to see you. It was another hour later before you finally messaged him, and then he was up and running out the door, almost knocking Bakugou over on his way out. "What, where are you going, dumbhair?" Bakugou yelled at the back of the rapidly disappearing classmate. "He's off to see Yin," Mina said brightly, watching Bakugou closely to see his reaction. The way the blonde stiffened and his red eyes shot over to hers was enough to make her smirk with knowledge. She could tell that comment had gotten under his skin. "She's at the hospital, isn't she?" he grunted, shoving his hands into his pockets and stalking into the common room. "Yep, but he's bringing her some things," she added, acting like it was no big deal. Bakugou scowled, more so than what he was already scowling, and glanced back at the door. He grunted. Kiri got to the hospital far quicker than he thought he would, and slowed as he neared the entrance to it. He was about to go in when he saw you sitting near the front door, your glazed and slightly bloodshot eyes downcast as you just stared at the bland-coloured concrete in front of you. "Yin?" he called gently as he approached you. You looked up quickly, your eyes glazed with tears. "Are you okay?" he asked immediately upon seeing you. You hadn't slept well, and you were in yesterday's city clothes, and your hair was everywhere, but on top of all that, you just looked broken. You stood up and he just instinctively wrapped his arms around you, holding on to you as you buried your face into the crook of his neck. Sudden sobs racked your body, and you wrapped your arms back around him, crying for reasons you didn't quite understand yourself. The rescue of little Shinaru had really affected you, especially now knowing that both of her parents had been killed. One, life taken by another, and the other life taken by his own hands. What kind of hell had this beautiful little one grown up in? Why was that hurting you so much? Kiri just held you. He didn't ask any questions. He kind of knew that it had been a lot to take in already. After you had calmed down, he stepped back and let you go. "I'm sorry," you sniffed. "I'm just tired, I think." "Don't say sorry," he said gently, taking your hand. "Let's go back to the dorms, and you can tell me about it if you like. You need to talk these things out. It's not manly to keep your emotions in." You nodded sullenly and kept your eyes on the ground as he led you by the hand back towards the station. You were indeed super tired and didn't remember much of the trip back to the dorms. You were, however, keenly aware of Kiri holding your hand, and he didn't let go the whole trip back. It was comforting though. You felt his warmth connecting you to something bigger than yourself, and for a few moments you saw that everything was going to be okay, before your mind went back to little Shinaru and how she was when you found her alone and scared in the bush. Back in the dorms, Kiri took you to your room and waited outside the door for you to have a shower and get changed, then eagerly entered when you opened the door. "Have you eaten, Yin?" he asked as he entered your room. You shook your head. "No, I think I just want to sleep," you admitted, eyes still puffy and bloodshot as you glanced up at him and then looked down again. "Oh, I see," he said softly. "Did you want to talk about it?" You shrugged and then yawned. "I might sleep first," you said sadly. "Oh, okay," he said kind of sadly. He had been wanting to listen to your story and hold you and support you, but he also knew that letting you get some much needed sleep would be a much better idea. He took a step backwards towards the door, and you turned and face planted onto the bed. I'll come and check on you later," he said as he got to the door and turned back to look at you. You still hadn't moved from where you'd fallen, and he waited. I'll come back after school. It's almost lunchtime now, so I'll see you after," he said. You mumbled into the pillow, and he took that as the ending of the conversation and closed the door, then headed off to the afternoon classes. You pretty much passed out then, and the next thing you remember hearing was a soft knocking on your door. "Yeah," you rasped, popping an eye open and rolling over to see the door. Yin? Kiri's voice came floating in under the closed door. Yeah. Come in, Kiri, you said through a yawn. He pried the door open a little and slipped in, holding some papers in hand. Sorry, I didn't want to wake you, but here's the homework from today, he said as he crept over and put the papers down on your desk. Thank you, he said with a small smile. I should probably wake up anyway, because what time is it? It's 4 p.m. now, he replied, walking over to sit down on the side of the bed. Are you feeling a little better? You nodded. You really did feel much better. So, do you want to talk about it? He asked gently. And there ends chapter 40. Stay tuned for chapter 41 coming tomorrow. See you then.